The $1,000,000 question, eh? Does it get easier? There's this scene in Bojack Horseman, because it's my favorite show. I was gonna say it used to be my favorite show, but I think it still is, and it forever will be. But anyway, yeah, where Bojack's running and he's really struggling a lot. And then there's this monkey who saw him running when he was on the ground, and the monkey said, "Every day gets a little easier. You just gotta do it every day. That's the hard part. But it does get easier." And then that scene really stuck with me for a long time, that I even set it as my wallpaper for a while. And then when I was really active on Facebook, there's this page that would post it every day just to say that it gets easier every day. And yeah, I held on to that for a while, and I really believed in it. But then as time goes on, I started to question it. Does it actually get easier? And then as years went by, I started to experience more things, which seemed to be like a level harder from the things that I have to go through from the previous year. Like, it used to just be getting good grades at school, and then it turned out into doing better at work, performing for a bigger company in a larger scale, like something like that. So I asked myself, does it actually get easier? Are you just kidding me? When does this get easier? So I think I figured out the answer, and what I've been believing now and for a long time is that it doesn't get easier. You just get better. You just get stronger. You get wiser, and your capacity expands. Because like the scene in Bojack, running doesn't get easier. Running is a constant thing. Running is this thing that just exists. It is not automatically going to be easier for you. That's not going to happen. But if you do it every day, if you train yourself to get better at it or get used to it, you're going to find it easier. Running is just going to be here. But you are, before running, you would think that, it's hard. So running's here, and then you get easier every day, and then, okay, running's fine, and then you just get better. So this stays here, but you get better at it, and you become stronger. Running becomes a constant thing. And I also had this reflection when I went back home after a few years. So the first time I went home after a while, I got really triggered and depressed. There was all these emotions because it seemed to me like the things at home either hasn't changed or has gotten worse over time, the situations at home, and it really just made me sad, and it made me feel guilty. It made me feel a lot of things, and I thought, many years have passed by, and I thought things would have changed, but things are still the same. So I don't know, I avoided it again for a year, and then when I came back with a different mindset, and I didn't even realize. And then while I was home, nothing's changed. Everyone's still doing the same thing. People are still doing the same things, and they have the same beliefs. They're doing the same shit. But I have changed. My patience have changed. My mindset has changed, and in turn, it made things feel a bit easier, a bit better for me to handle. And I saw things from a different perspective, and I understood things from a different perspective. And that's what I'm saying, that it doesn't get easier. You just get better at it. You just find new ways to handle it. You just find better ways to deal with it. And if not, find you just find better situations to put yourself in. You stop putting yourself in that same situation that seem to never change and to just continuously fuck you up, and you choose that for yourself. You choose those things. And this is not for all situations. Like family, I think family teaches us the biggest lesson about love. No, I mean the biggest lesson about love is self-love, but family is one of the biggest teachers of love, because it's not that we can just choose our family and we can just replace them at any time. No, it really teaches us patience and courage and forgiveness and all those things. But in all the other areas and situations in our lives, like with our jobs, our living situations, our friendships, our partners, and things like that, we have the choice to choose what we tolerate, what we want to keep in our lives, what will enrich our lives, and what will just drag us down. So yeah, I used to be in that mindset that when I was with my friends back home, I was a ride or die girl, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then you have got to just be real. That at some point, if people keep choosing these bad things for themselves, you do not want to be a part of that, because you're just going to be dragged down, and you're just going to be brought down to, I don't know, the same situations, the same thinking mindset, and then you're not going to get anywhere. So yeah, it doesn't get better. You just get wiser, stronger, kinder, softer, more patient, and it doesn't even have to always be something hardcore. It doesn't always have to be something rough. You don't always have to get tougher and more strict. Sometimes you get softer, you get kinder, you get gentler, you get more tender, and that's it. That's the real answer to that question. And what I always say is that no matter how hard it seems, the situation in front of you, just keep pushing through. Just keep going even though it's hard. Just keep going even though you're mourning. Keep going even though you're sad. Pick yourself up even though you're unsure, because the next thing you know, you've built this muscle, and you've worked on yourself because you took one step at a time, even if it's just little steps. And yeah, it starts with that. It doesn't have to be something drastic, or it doesn't have to all change overnight. As they say, Rome was built in a day. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because it reminded me of, I don't know, I just always think about that scene, and then when I just reflect on my life, like, it's crazy to think about the things that I actually survived and I actually have managed to get over and go through. And they're never, it's always something harder than the previous challenge. It's always something more challenging than the previous challenge, and that's why I think does it ever get better. But no, you level up, so do your challenges in life, but That's because, the universe, God knows that you can handle it. That's why they give it to you. And if you didn't go through those things before, you wouldn't be able to go through these things now, and the things you're going to go through in the future. And it's not, it's not always going to be challenges, because after those challenges, on the other side of those challenges are rainbows and butterflies, and people to love, and versions of you to love, and versions of you for people to love, and versions of you to share to others. And it's always so worth it, because you're worth it, and you've always been and you always will be. Trust that, that, and I'm telling you that right now, you are. And yeah, cheers to getting better, cheers to getting stronger, wiser, softer, kinder, and just cheers to more beautiful things and magic. And as always, I love you so much. Thank you for being here, my love.